have half a heart. If I had a full heart, I could do that. But I can't lay eggs. Everyone else is dead, and all I want to do now is die. But I think if I die, I will go to hell.
Right. So I would then say, if I'm Bowen, not if I'm me, because I don't think Adam would have killed that many dragons without talking to one. I don't think. But that's just semantics or not. I think I would then say, like, well, my job now is to serve you, to give you the best dragon life I can. Yeah. Like, I am now your servant. I think it's like a life debt, right? Like a Jar Jar Binks life.
He would have to guard his castle and make sure that no one attacks him.
Absolutely.
I mean, he kind of does that since they formed the partnership, because Draco says that he has been doing nothing but skulking in the darkness and eating off scraps. Right. And people have just been trying to murder him for millennia. So he gets to go out, he gets to have some games. And I do like that Draco swims, because Rob Cohen said that, in Chinese culture, there's a lot of dragons who are amphibious. And they don't quite have wings like Draco does. But I like that he had that aspect to him. So I guess the dragon's out there, the dragon's making friends. He's singing to women. He's doing cheeky gags. He's meeting cannibals who have a lot of pigs. A lot of pigs. But they want to eat human flesh.
Who do you think was the better 90s cannibal? The cannibals from Dragonheart or the cannibals from Judge Dredd?
Well, the cannibals from Judge Dredd didn't have many options. So they wanted to eat flesh because they didn't have anything else, right? They needed sustenance.
Right.
The cannibals in Dragonheart are better because they had thousands of fat pigs around to eat.
Right.
And water sources around them for fish, locks around them for food, like for all of that.
Yeah.
Oat everywhere. They planted oat for this movie. This movie, Rob Cohen planted oat. He didn't plant it himself, but oat was planted. These people have a lot of food at their disposal, but yet they still want to eat humans. So I like them better.
Okay. Now, Mark, something about this movie. I think the cannibals from Judge Dredd are better because the guy has a huge mechanical arm with a tiny little knife on the end of it. It makes me laugh every time. I don't care about anything else that you just said. Huge mechanical arm, little tiny knife. It's the best gag in a movie ever.
And we talked about that movie on the podcast as well.
We sure did. Mark, I remember, though, when this movie came out, it's 3 years after Jurassic Park?
Mm-hmm. So 96, 93, correct, yeah.
Yeah, and The Lost World came out 97, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this movie was really the first after Jurassic Park movie to really do special effects that kind of still hold up today. Like they're not as flawless as you'd see today, but they're not as glaringly obvious as other ones.
Yeah, and listen, I think there are times when you see the dragon coming out of the water and it doesn't look excellent, but I think this movie needs to get a pass because they show a lot of Draco. And the thing is that everyone loves the T-Rex scene in Jurassic Park, and the Abyss scene, but in the Abyss it took place in a damp, dank, dark underwater lab. In Jurassic Park,
and it was a minute of the film.
When we get Jurassic Park, we see the T-Rex, but it's in the rain and it's dark. That's much easier to do VFX. Right. Dragonheart, on the other hand, has a wild amount of daytime dragon.
Right.
And that is wildly ambitious. I mean, top off the fact that the thing's mouth can open like a boa constrictor. It has a Swiss Army knife tail. When it flies by Dennis Quaid, Dennis Quaid's hair flies in the air. If anybody's like, this movie didn't do it too great, just tell them that.
Malarkey to that.
Yeah, because I guarantee you that they never, like, this is a movie, like, the amount of daytime dragons in this. I mean, it's.
But even before this, Mark, name one movie that was about a dragon that featured even half as much as this of dragon as this movie.
I mean, Reign of Fire, no. And Reign of Fire came later.
Came later.
Harry Potter, no. We had a long dragon discussion. I mean, aside from maybe Pete's Dragon, but that's cheating.
That's cheating because it's an animated cartoon. But
Smaug
even like
slithers around, right? You'd never see all of Smaug. So yeah,
right.
this is. I mean, listen to this is like when they shot this, dude. This was 95 probably when they shot this. Oh, because
right.
You know what? They had to work on this movie for 15 months. Oh, so so do you know the story about how this got made?
Well, tell me if I think I remember it because this movie had a crazy amount of like television specials about the making of it. Like it was the first movie that was really celebrated. Like I remember before seeing it being like they stopped or they motion captured Sean Connery's actual face for the dragon, and there was like a thing about that, and like the idea like they dropped huge weights into the water to get the splash, and then put the dragon in after that. Like there was all kinds of specials, like TV making of specials for this movie, which I'd never seen before. And I think in one of them, the writer pitched the Night in the Mouth scene to Dino De Laurentiis in '88. Whereas like I want to do a movie about the last night and the last dragon that become friends because there's no one else to fight with. And so the scene where Bowen's in the mouth was the first scene that was written. That was the elevator pitch, was that scene.
Absolutely. And then it got passed on to Rafaela De Laurentiis.
Right.
And they did designs with Jim Henson. Jim Henson created a dragon. Right. And they had, I think, a young either Clive Owen or Daniel Craig in the footage battling this inside a warehouse. But the problem was they couldn't get the budget low enough to do it. Because all the puppets and all this, and so then Jurassic Park came out. And Rob Cohen was hot off of Dragon. They got Connery. The script had heat. I mean, a lot of people wanted to be in on it. They went to Slovakia to shoot that waterfall there. They built that. Like it's a really good looking. There's a water fight in this movie, by the way. But yeah, so then they eventually got it made because of the advances of Jurassic Park. And you know, I was just reading. I forgot to say this. Like, they spent 13 months after the final cut. So this movie shot in 94, 93. Like this movie went into production almost immediately after Jurassic Park blew up in the theaters. So this technology, man, we went a roundabout way of saying it, but there are scenes, like night scenes of this, where Draco's talking and you just see the full expression of his mouth. When his mouth opens like a boa constrictor, when its tail kicks open, when it's flying, oh my gosh, at night when they go to Arthur's castle,
so
beautiful.
Good.
And you know what's funny? They filmed a lot of the flying scenes on like a little, I don't know what to call it, but it's like a hang glider with an engine, and they got one of the premier guys in Europe to fly it with a camera attached to it, which makes me happy. But this movie, I mean, ILM, and it won a special Oscar. Like it won an honorary Oscar. It got nominated for Best Visual Effects. So it was there, man. Like it wasn't just like a tornado that was spinning around. This was a living, breathing, all digital character, and this was a big step up.
It wasn't like Smaug, where Smaug's an all digital character in an all digital environment.
Exactly.
The environment around Draco was all real, tangible environment.
And what people got to understand is, they shot plates, and they obviously they had to, like they couldn't get the tennis ball in the frame, but they had to deal with like crops moving, oat blowing, trees moving. Like they had a lot of variables on set to work with. This wasn't sound screen or like green screen sound studio work.
Oh.
So this was like you said, you were 100% right. This movie, there's so many things about this dragon. And I remember being very excited to see it, and I went to go see it in a theater, and I just want to pitch a couple things to you here. Or not pitch, but tell you. This movie opened up when Mission Impossible and Twister were still running hard. Like, we're still rolling deep.
Right.
And what's crazy is that Mission Impossible was in 3,000 theaters. Twister was in 2,800. Dragonheart was only in 2,100 theaters at the time. Like, Flipper was in more theaters than this movie. And Flipper was in its third weekend released. So it wasn't given that many theaters, but it still pulled in $15 million battling Mission Impossible and Twister. And then the following week, The Rock comes out. The Rock. Like that's the audience for Dragonheart, I would say. Then, I mean, the cable guy comes out. What's up?
It's got the dragon in it.
Oh, yeah. Wait, The Rock? Oh, Sean Connery. Yes. And then the cable guy comes out, which is a big deal. And then Eraser and Hunchback of Notre Dame, a Disney movie. So Dragonheart had some of the pound for pound, I would say, heaviest competition around. And it still managed to pull in. What's up?
Would you say Dragonheart was the Rocky Balboa of the 1996 summer movies?
I think so, because, I mean, listen, it still pulled in $51 million. If we adjust for inflation, that's probably 90, which is a big haul. And worldwide got it over 100 million. It made another 90 million overseas. So for the competition, I mean, this thing existed at the same time as Mission Impossible and Twister. Twister was the behemoth, like end all behemoths.
Remember Twister? The summer of Twister, man, all people talked about.
Because remember, you know what? This is what I remember from that time. From these dates that we're talking about, we had Twister, and all I wanted to read about was the sound. Like I remember THX, new speakers were invented for theaters, right? And you're thinking about this sensory blast of that, and then you have Cable Guy, where all it is the paycheck that Jim Carrey got, the $20 million paycheck. I don't know. We're close to the same age. Like everyone talked about that. The Rock, Nick Cage, action hero. Like remember, like, whoa, Nick Cage is an action hero. Like, and everyone, I remember saying The Rock is way better than I expected. But
The Rock is legit, like a legit action movie.
The Phantom came out too. I remember seeing that in the theater. I had to go drive to like a weird theater to go see it because no one was playing it. But it just wasn't the narrative, right? It was the narrative was the VFX of Dragonheart, the sound for me of Twister, and then Jim Carrey's paycheck for Cable Guy.
And then when you saw Cable Guy, you're like, what is this?
Yeah, insane. And I love it now, but
yeah, no, it's a great movie, but it wasn't a great follow-up to Ace Ventura and The Mask.
What I love about Cable Guy is like, it really gets you there in regards to the weirdness. It feels like it took your money. Like the karaoke scene with all those people that he brings up, it goes so dark.
Right.
But yeah, I love that for it. But then you have Dragonheart, which the writers, I think, wanted it to be Braveheart with wings.
Yeah.
But I think it's more like Willow.
No, this movie is a family fantasy feel-good movie.
It's Draco time.
Right? Like that's what we're talking about here. Yeah. And I also want to say that I've probably said it a number of times because I stand by it and I say it a lot. Dennis Quaid doesn't make bad movies. At worst, his movies are all right, but he's never made a stinker.
Yeah. Now Playing for Keeps with Gerard Butler, but he wasn't in that movie much.
No, but again, that wasn't like maybe
a Dennis Quaid movie is what you're saying.
A Dennis Quaid movie, right? Is what I'm saying. Like, like if you look at his, his repertoire here, so he made like even his like 1970s and 80s made for TV movies were fantastic. Like, have you seen The Lights Went Out in Georgia?
Mm-mm.
It's fantastic. You should watch it. It's incredible. He was in Jaws 3D. It was not a great movie, but he was great in it.
I love that movie. It makes me so happy.
Yeah. And so then he did The Right Stuff. He did Dreamscape. He did Enemy Mine. Mark, we got to talk about Enemy Mine.
Oh, that's a good one. Absolutely. I love Enemy Mine.
Then he did The Big Easy, Interstate, Suspect, DOA, Great Balls of Fire. Like he just makes good movies. Like he's fantastic in kind of all he's doing.
After Tomorrow, he headlined In Good Company. Yeah. He's really good in that one.
He was Wyatt Earp he was Doc Holliday in Wyatt Earp.
Yep.
In a landscape where he had got to go up against Val Kilmer as Wyatt Earp or as Doc Holliday.
When people say too, like, "Oh, you're an actor," like you just act, but this was the infancy